On today's EMJPJ podcast, we get Ben's thoughts on the action at the RBC Heritage. We also give our thoughts on the upcoming Zurich Classic. Is it actually a worthwhile event? And we talk about Live Golf, its participants, and their future going forward. Is it really going under? We also recap our ridiculous round of golf last weekend, which, as you will hear, was not short of eventful stuff. Let's just say that. As always, this podcast does contain explicit language, but we hope you enjoy the podcast. Hello and welcome back to the EMJ PGA podcast. Thank you to all of you who tuned in for the early week edition, the RBC Heritage Review. Bit of a solo mission it was last night, but as you can see, we are joined. Help has arrived. Ben Hartshorn is back, and we are ready to give a little bit of a rogue podcast, a little bit of a rogue late week podcast. We're not late to the party like we were last week. We are here for you on Thursday morning, and also it is episode 25 now of the EMJ PJ podcast. We are having a good innings, as they say in cricket. We are 25 not out. We haven't been cancelled. YouTube haven't demonetized us or like cancelled us. I don't know what they do, YouTube, but I hear they have some tight protocols, and we're hoping it stays that way. However, with Ben Hartshorn on the show, we never know. We never know. So Ben Hartshorn, welcome back to the podcast, and welcome to episode 25. How are you feeling?
Thank you very much for the introduction. Episode 25, a quarter of a century of episodes we've done. And we feel like we haven't even got rocking and rolling yet. We're only in, we're the 21st of April today. Unbelievable the amount of episodes we could hit by Christmas this year. But we're back after another good weekend of golf. Euan sort of like, I would call it, in a Build-A-Bear course, come bucket course at the RBC Heritage. We're back to review that load of shite. And we're looking forward to this episode.
Lad, honestly, I'm not taking I'm not taking Harbour Town slander. It's an absolute unbelievable venue. And as I said on yesterday's podcast, or when we recorded it yesterday, I didn't get to watch as much of it as I would have wanted to. We were sat. We're going to come on to this. We were sat in the abandoned car park of a pub that we thought was open after our 5.5 hour round of golf, and we just all of a sudden went, "Oh shit, the Heritage is on," and we raced back to catch as much of it as we could. We will come on to that in just a second, but yeah, thank you to all of you who are still listening and still watching here. 25 episodes in. We're enjoying doing this. I'm enjoying doing this. It's one of those things that it breaks up the week fantastically for me, albeit things are getting busier with obviously Ben's been busy over the last couple of weeks with his running. He's coming into his running season and doing lots. Ben's won a running race since we've last spoke. Ben, talk about your dub over Euan McElroy winning in the same week. It's a match made in heaven, lad.
The same week, and Shane McElroy won, but obviously I've vented my frustrations about that. Yeah, mine was a proper win. One of the summer series races, fell races, which I won up over the Wrekin. So yeah, it was good. It was a good win, a good Wednesday night. So yeah.
Big time. Getting dubs on the Wednesday night. We absolutely love that from the co-host. But yeah, thank you to all of you who are listening and watching. 25 episodes in. As Ben says, we've got a long way to go in the PGA Tour season, and we don't want to get too far away from topics that are close to your heart as the club golfer, okay? I appreciate that we have a few pros on here listening on a weekly basis, which is great. Thank you to all of you who listen. But the majority of you play club golf on a regular basis. You want to know our thoughts on club golf. I like to keep myself plugged into the scene of club golf, working with a lot of amateur players. And we're going to tackle that next week. And there's going to be more on that towards the end of the episode. But let's circle it back around. Me and Ben shared a round of golf at the weekend. As I said on Tuesday's podcast, thank you very much to the Asprey for hosting us. I thought the golf was in fantastic condition. X, Y, and Z, everything you say after a round, giving a speech. But Ben, give your overall review of the golf on Sunday. I'm just looking back and I'm thinking back to some of the moments that we witnessed. One of the most outrageous shots I've ever seen you hit. Two of them really back to back on one of the holes. I lost my temper a bit before Jude, which was just I can't believe I've done it looking back. That's a kind of kick myself moment. And Barrett picks up the victory. Former co-host Barrett, Ben, give us your overview of the weekend.
Overview of the weekend. So we do this our group of friends, we do a sort of a 2 a year, 3 a year competition we call the Can Carrot, which is something we take very seriously, and we've actually played some cool courses over the last 3 years of doing it. And we were at Ashbury on Sunday, a bit more of a late notice major. We called it the Can Carrot Masters. Ashbury, a great venue, a good course, a good challenge course. Like sometimes I get a little bit apprehensive about these like hotel venues, these lodge golf courses. That the golf courses can be a bit wet, they can be a bit shite. But this was a proper test of golf, and I think this summer would, yeah, not many trees. Again, long, thick, rough, open off the tee. Like you can get off the tee well, but then you've got tight greens, sloping greens, and some good challenge. Obviously that's sort of the serious overview of it. Obviously, like what it was probably the longest round of golf I've ever seen, and went and like I'm not over exaggerating. Like I get we all find our group of friends the funniest, and but like genuinely was the funniest friend you could ever be. We were 5.5 hours, no one in front of us. We weren't getting held up. We were doing the holding up. I think again, don't ask the Kellys. We don't ask the sort of the rules officials of golf, the England golf, but obviously minimum 10 minutes looking for every ball, which isn't great. And we lost a fair few balls. I lost 3 balls. I lost 3 on one hole, and yeah, unbelievable golf. Some of the worst shots I've ever seen. The worst putting I think from 4 players I've ever seen. Sort of our leader after 9 decided to make 6 blobs on the back 9 in JK, and then telling me in the chat today like he did all right in the back 9. I was like, lad, you didn't like the last 4 holes. You didn't score. All because you hold one long putt on like 14. He thinks he did all right. And then inevitably, as he seems to do, Ollie Barrett played some unbelievably solid golf, hits the ball so straight, such a very short, compact swing, and played very well. Head losses all over the place, unbelievable banter. So it was like the ultimate round of golf, but like a long old day, and actually with no one actually playing that well. But I don't know how you can play well when you're over 5 hours of golf. I don't believe you can play well for that long.
I think on the 12th, 13th hole, par 5, right?
Yeah.
I think that I was stood there and maybe I was thinking about it, okay? But there was a couple of us that hit it left off the tee, right? You and JK hit it left. And then we've turned round round. We've turned round, and there's a group behind us, of which one of them's in a buggy, right? And this is what I didn't get about it, right? One of them's in a fucking buggy, okay? And then, respectfully, okay, I'm not the smallest guy in the world, but the biggest guy, right, is just walking at like 0.3 miles per hour, not in the buggy. So he's like marching up the fairway, and it gives me and you and JK time to like look for your balls, right? And then the guy plods up. The guy plods up next to us in that thick, juicy rough, and all he's got is his 5 wood, and he thinks he's pretty sound, and he just takes the fattest chop at it, like 2 yards in front of us, right? JK's like lost his ball, right? He's like, oh fucking hell. Remember JK goes, oh I fucking hate this course. That's shite. I can't lose a ball like that. And he just walked 5 yards to the ball that we were looking for anyway, right? And then all this has happened within like 15 minutes, like 20. All this has happened within 20 minutes. And Barrett's still over there. Barrett's like on his phone, like on call to someone on the right side, because it's been 20 minutes since we've hit there. And I went down to my ball, right? And I was stood over this seminar, and I was thinking, fucking hell, I feel like it's been a day since I've actually swung the club, let alone an iron. I don't think I'd hit an iron for like an hour. and it was probably
No.
3 holes ago. It was absolutely outrageous. I was stood over the shop thinking, I haven't swung in 25 minutes. Like, genuinely 25 minutes. And the sun was coming down and it was getting cold. And oh my God. I mean,
Literally.
wow.
So
Wow.
funny. Literally, you're so true. I didn't even clock that. Like a buggy with a spare seat, and then Fat Perez comes like bounding down the fairway, like asking us where his ball is, takes two chops, and then hits it into the massive bunker in front of him. And and then in that whole time, we've been looking for JK's ball, which we didn't find. And then as we we're walking away, we then fucking find it 5 yards behind. I don't get how. And then yeah, we finished the whole probably 45 minutes after teeing off on a oh yeah, a decently sized par five. But yeah, like that is the funniest I've ever seen. Yeah, amazing.
I
Incredible.
think
Incredible.
the, for those of you who follow football, okay, City Arsenal, the pivotal game in the
Yeah.
title race, I think that kicked off when we were on the first, and the game finished when we were on the sixth. I think that gives you a bit of context about how quick the massive goal was.
One of the
And yeah,
going back, like just to make it even longer, like there's on the second hole of short par five, JK's over his ball, and we're like, oh, we'll wait for them on the green. We wait 5 minutes, and except for waiting for them to actually finish on the green, like Jude just like hits his shot when they're just putting out. Like he could have hit when they were like chipping around the green. Then he's like, we've already waited 10 minutes. Then he's like, oh, I'm fucking gonna hit it, and then hits it straight at them. And honestly, so many things that people won't quite
yeah, yeah,
clock or
we
get
stood
it.
like waiting, like yeah. J- JK, we stood there and like we literally waited 5-10 minutes for the green to clear, and then they were still on the green. And I turned around and JK's like mid backswing, and I was literally stood in his backswing going, JK, what are you doing? You just hike this one straight at the green, and I'm like begging that it gets down quick, and he's like, oh, okay, we're never gonna reach it anyway. I was like, what are we doing waiting then? Like, what on earth is going on there? Absolutely ridiculous. And then
Like,
he smashes his ankle with his putter on the
yeah.
third, and then yeah,
Oh,
honest to God. We could go on all day. We could go on all day. We could have had a camera out for it because it was absolutely outrageous. Although we would have ran out of storage on the fourth because it was
yeah.
that long. Um,
Yeah. Literally,
unbelievable, unbelievable.
we,
None of us
yeah,
hold apart from JK holding that
no,
50-footer.
no,
It was outrageous.
yeah, hilarious. I mean, we teed off a quarter to four, and we finished at probably half eight. Like that. That's a long old round. That is a long old round on an empty golf course. To put it, yeah, like an empty golf course, not stuck
Yeah.
behind anyone. Yeah. So and for all right golfers, we're not hackers out here. Like one of us is a pro,
Mm.
one of us is a low handicap, the other's like off 10 to 12. Anyway, so yeah,
Yeah.
hilarious.
Um, absolutely outrageous, and so outrageous that I want to do it again. You know, I want to.
Yeah.
We need to get out there and do it again. And it's mental because we can have a knock round Stretton, and okay, with four of us maybe not, but we can get round there in just over
Mm,
3 hours, and then all of a
yeah.
sudden you put us on, a par 71, and you put us on. Not back tees, not back tees, but
No.
you put us off the whites back there on a course that a couple of us haven't seen before. Just over 3 hours turns into nearly, well, what would it be? Just, yeah, nearly five and a
Mm,
bit. So um,
mm.
absolutely outrageous. But what an occasion. Let us know if you're listening. If you've like what stupid things have caused you to take ages in a round of golf. Have you waited 10 minutes for a green and your playing partner's just hit it anyway because he's told us then after the fact that he was never going to reach it. After standing around for 10 minutes. Have you had playing partners have to step off a putt because one of your playing partners has just smashed the hell out of their ankle and they're
Mm.
screaming in pain on the side of the green. um, uh, so these are things that only seem to happen to us, and we've got some stories on the golf course that again would be unbelievable to tell. If you just think about the walk down from that time where it was real icy up at
Yeah.
Stratton, and
Yeah. Yeah.
some things have happened up there which we can't even comprehend. So yeah, let us know
No.
your golf course stories. We might open up a podcast just solely golf course stories and get your emails in about the funniest things that have happened to you on the golf course, because we always love hearing them, and when they happen to you, they just make it that little bit funnier as well. So after that round of golf, as I said, we parked up in an abandoned car park. We thought we were going to go for a post-tournament pint, only to find out it just looked like a bungalow that was just, had no lights on and abandoned. So we sat in the car park for 10 minutes, did our presentation, and then realised that there was some golf on. Ben, did you get did you get a chance to catch the end of the RBC Heritage? And if so, what are your
I
thoughts on it?
I actually did, and I did enjoy. I wasn't concentrating that hard, but I saw what happened, and I did see the playoff as well. And yeah, I enjoyed it. Interesting. I mean, interesting last few shots. I think maybe we'll go through that in a second. Of the last, maybe the last five shots of that tournament, like Fitzpatrick's 1 into 18 going in. His chip on 18, which was fucking shite. And then Scheffler shot on the playoff hole. Like that was the one of the worst shots he's hit ever. Under pressure, I could not believe it. I know Fitzpatrick has stiffed it, but wow, could not believe it. Up to his normal tricks. Aberg leading for the first 2-3 days, and then coming in with a level par final day, doing his usual. So no surprises there. So um, Aberg will never be selected again. He did come tied fourth, better than he normally done, and yeah, some decent weeks for some other players. But yeah, interesting ending.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And for those of you who haven't caught the early week podcast, it's something that we spoke about when it comes to Scheffler, is that if you stick it on Scheffler and he gets into a bit of a battle and a bit of a duel, he's breakable. He's breakable. Like Scheffler likes it when he's in front running. He likes, and it's a bit different. It's not like boxing where you kind of have it's a pure 1v1 technique. It's you versus the golf course in a very old fashioned and cliche sense. However, yeah, like I said on the in the early podcast, and Ben might not have caught this, but like a couple of stats that are interesting. Scheffler's had 6 career playoffs and he's won 3 of them, so he's 50% win ratio in
Wow.
career playoffs. Tiger Woods, for reference, has been in 12 playoffs. He's won 11. All right. And Rory McIlroy has been in 10 and he's won 6. Okay. So Rory McIlroy's 60% win ratio in playoffs. Tiger Woods obviously ridiculous in playoffs. Added to that, and I'm just relaying the early week podcast, but again, just to get Ben's reaction, okay. Scheffler's Ryder Cup record, which I know a lot goes into, his win ratio is 37.5% in the Ryder Cup. Okay. Tiger Woods, who we both famously know is slightly underwhelming in Ryder Cups, his win ratio is 39%, and McIlroy's is 58%. Okay. So these are again more things when you add to the weight of Scheffler when you stick it on him, what's he going to do? And then a couple of stats or one stat which I came up with um by myself a little bit is how many times do they win versus how many times do they come second? Okay.
Yeah.
And for every time Scheffler comes second, he wins zero point 0.6 of an event. Okay. So it's kind of just trying to make the point of when you're in the running, how many times do you win versus how many times do you come second? What is that ratio? Is it 3-1? Is it 2-1? What have you? So Scheffler's is 0.6. Okay. Every time he comes second, he wins zero point 0.6 of an event. Rory McIlroy, every time he comes second, he wins 2.3 events. So in those same amount of instances, let's say he gets into 3 tournaments, all right, and he comes second in one, he wins 2.3 of the remaining, okay. And Tiger Woods, for every time he comes second, he wins 2.6 events. So again, the point is when they're in the running, how clinical are they? And that doesn't account for the amount of times where Scheffler just wins by cantering away. Um, there are probably other instances in there, and it's like, kind of, do you make the argument of, and last little stat, which I thought was interesting, just to get your thoughts on it. Scheffler's average win margin is 3.375 shots, and the tour average for every tournament that's ever played is between 1.5 to 2 shots per event. So again, it's kind of making that point that when he wins by kind of just absolutely sticking down like the rest of the field, for less of a better way to say it. And when he gets drawn into this kind of fight, even though he did fight back against Fitzpatrick, he weirdly never seems to come out on top, and that's happened less and less as his career's gone on. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, of whether you think Scheffler's breakable when you kind of stick it on him a bit. And when it comes to Matt Fitzpatrick, he's a steely motherfucker, is Matt Fitzpatrick.
He is a steam motherfucker, Matt Fitzpatrick. It's interesting what you say about Scheffler. He's missing something this year, 100%. And you're so right. I mean, with his wins, winning at Canter, his majors, he's dominated throughout the week. I mean, you can't doubt the man. He has barely finished outside the top 10 this year. He gave it a good go last week at the Masters. He was so close this week. But again, his Ryder Cup record speaks for itself as well. He's very, very poor the last two Ryder Cups. Does he get in his own head too much when it's a bit more of a dogfight? When he's 1v1? I don't know. But that, honestly, that shot in the playoff was so bad. It was so bad. I get it was into wind, but this is the best player in the world. And so yeah, it's fascinating. But again, let's not get fucked about here. Like Tiger Woods, like with most of his major wins led, he only came from behind once. Am I wrong on on the final day? Actually, that was in 2019. So like, it's not outrageous that Scheffler only wins when he's in front. But yeah, I think it's interesting. Is it a stat we should look that deeply into? No. Will he be favourite going into the next three majors? Yeah. And will he be favourite going to every single event he plays for the next 5 years? Probably. So, but fascinating stats and very well put together by you there. Fucking hell.
Yeah, no, I just found it interesting because I kind of made the point last week on the Masters review that, if Scheffler's in the mix, another random one, when Fitzpatrick, funnily enough, claimed his US Open in 2022, Scheffler was leading for a good part of that golf tournament, and
Mm,
Zalatoris and Fitzpatrick overtook him when it came down the stretch. He didn't build enough of a lead to kind of maintain it and hold on to it. Now, I know it's a US Open, and I know a lot of stuff can go down in the US Open, but yeah, no, I just found it interesting, and I just sort of thought that off the back of that playoff shot where it didn't suit up for Scheffler. Scheffler does not like to
no.
move the ball from right to left. So when you have a straight back into the wind shot that can easily turn over, if you're not accustomed to turning the ball from right to left and you get it slightly wrong back into the wind, you're going swimming with the crocodiles over in that South Carolina marsh area,
Mm,
over on that left hand side of 18. So and obviously in regulation they both flailed it, didn't they? Matt Fitzpatrick hit an unbelievable shot, but as we both said at the time, he pulled it. It looked like he towed it at first, but he pulled it.
mm.
So it is one of those ones where it was a bad shot, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't one of the easiest ones. So we kind of let him off, but then kind of also go at the same time. Does he have to stand up for himself a little bit more in those situations? Maybe,
I
potentially. Go on.
I I I wonder, because of Tiger Woods, that we just hold Scheffler to a position where we think he should do more than he is, but actually what he's doing is unbelievable anyway. Um, and I just think we get deceived by his dominant wins, that he should be, when he's in the mix, he should win because he's this unbelievable player. But actually, he's got a lot of flaws with his putting, and when it comes to the nitty gritty, his putting often can let him down. And Tiger had the same flaws often with his driving, as maybe we spoke about. I know you spoke to me about that he never hit many fairways, Tiger. And I think Scotty's flaw is his putting, and that really sort of is evident in those stats you gave.
Yeah, yeah, no, something that he will go back to the drawing board on. But I did also say a couple of weeks ago that I really think that Scott Scheffler will win very, very soon. He might be my very basic pick for the Miami Championship, which I thought was this weekend. How dumb I
The
was.
what?
But it's not. It's the weekend after. So we will talk about that next week.
Hmm.
To sign off from the Heritage, obviously, Ben, we've got you back on the podcast. I gave a little heater of the week on Tuesday. What do you have for flop of the week this week for us? And you got anything cooking for us?
Showing my attention to the podcast, I didn't realize you did a podcast yesterday, or whenever, which is terrible. Um, not in the sense I didn't even
That's
listen to
okay.
it yet.
I'm not going to attack
Sorry.
you.
Um, Flop of the week, obviously. I think there's sort of two scenarios I can give. I think I do feel like, let's go through some runners and some riders. Tony Finau 11 over in at the Heritage. Terrible week for him. Does he deserve even to be on tour? Is that a question we should ask? What the fuck's he doing? He's shite. Justin Thomas, shite again. Marco Penge will let him off. Live Golf, obviously John Rahm won. I don't know if you spoke about it yesterday, but obviously Bryson DeChambeau, I think fully deserves another flop of the week. And for his absolute disgrace, obviously I don't know what the fuck's wrong with him. I genuinely think I'm better out of a bunker than him recently, and he's moaning about a lack of grass in Mexico, which was we're probably going back to talk about. But yeah, no, flop of the week. I think we'll go back to back, and just from his absolute bollocks, almost like I saw on TikTok. I don't sit on TikTok that long, but saw TikTok saying like as Bryson DeChambeau lost his PR team, and I fucking totally agree. He's looking like a right fucking pleb. So DeChambeau will be flop of the week. We'll give it like a half flop of the week because no one's done that badly. You know what? I'm not giving myself flop of the week for my performance on Sunday again. So DeChambeau's going for another flop of the week.
DeChambeau, I think, rightly deserves it. And it's a fantastic segue because that is our next topic of conversation. Those of
Yeah.
you who are listening to the podcast, watching the podcast, you want to hear us talk about when we set out on this podcast, we wanted to cover the biggest news stories in golf. And okay, it's a little bit quiet on the news front when it comes to golf at the moment. There isn't that much going on, but there was a bombshell report coming out at the back end of last week, pretty much at the conclusion of the Masters, that from the New York Post that Live Golf was shutting down and Live Golf might not even be going ahead in Mexico City. It did. And it was interesting to say the least. And in amongst it, off the back of just an awful display at Augusta, yeah, we had Bryson just being a complete total clown, and makes me feel more ashamed for picking him going into Augusta. I mean, yeah, completely right to question what the hell's going on with him. I think he's rightly deserving another flop of the week. I have no idea what sort of scores he shot around Mexico. He's there moaning about the condition of the course, like he's not one of the most highly paid golfers in the world, if not the highest. He's the highest paid golfer really that's on a salary, which is crazy to think about. You've got guaranteed money, unlike a lot of the players that are actually trying to cut their teeth and earn a living on the PGA Tour, and you're out there moaning about the conditions. You signed up for it. You signed up for it, you absolute clown. And you're trying to stay relevant. You're trying to stay in the limelight, and you're doing a good job because we're talking about you. But don't moan about the conditions of the course. You know what you're signing up for. Live clearly are struggling for money. They're doing everything they can to squeeze every last drop of juice out of the company. They're gonna take you to some bad places and some underwhelming places, and get the hell over it. I saw another post and I didn't send it you. These two Mexican lads just giving him a bit of stick and going, "Oh my God, the bunker's looking tasty," or something like that. They said to him, and he turns around and tells them to shut the fuck up and sort of kind of gives them the middle finger, and they can barely speak a word of English. Now, you bring that on yourself by being this big online presence and being this I'm a YouTuber slash golfer or whatever this hell title he gives himself. Act accordingly, like you said, as he lost his PR team, absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, he's off the rails. And do I blame him because he's had such an underwhelming week? He's won back-to-back times on Live. He was playing some absolutely unbelievable shots. I was on here just probably less than a month ago singing his praises, and he drops that one at Augusta. He's probably really, really naffed off with his game. However, live golf or not, there's a way that you act on the golf course, and I feel like he's not been living up to that standard the last few weeks. And especially if we can all get annoyed as people that aren't getting paid for our golf. When you're getting paid X amount of millions of pounds and dollars for your golf, got to be an ambassador for this tour that's clearly not the right move long term. But you don't even need to stick it out that long. You just keep being this so what likable figure, and you'll see it out and it'll crumble and you'll probably get back on tour. But instead, he just wants to be a cock. Yeah. End of rant on DeChambeau. Have you got anything to add on DeChambeau?
No, uh, I had a really good point, but no, I think these guys are like these guys are millionaires. These guys have grown up in a world where everything is handed to them. They are gods in their hometowns. They are gods in their family. So this petulance is within all these great athletes. And DeChambeau, you're right. I think the good point is he's pissed off with his game. And you know what it's like when you're playing shit, like you just blame everything else, and that's exactly what he's doing. He had a terrible week at Augusta. But for someone who last 3 years has made YouTube videos where he tries to break the course record at public courses, and again, looking like a great advocate for American golf, bringing in these average golf courses into the media spotlight, and then he's going to Live Golf Mexico. on a fairly reasonable golf course in a hot country where there's a bit of fucking bareness, and then telling me how bad it is when he's getting paid an absolute fuck ton for being there is absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. He can't get out of the fucking bunker either, any bunker. I don't know what the problem was with those bunkers. I mean, I've seen some fucking bunkers in my time, and they were absolutely fine. So yeah, absolutely unbelievable. Obviously lost his PR team. I think he's thrown up a fuss because he wants out of Live, because he's obviously been told Live are going to absolutely self implode. So he thinks he's going to lose money. Will the Saudi PIF ask the players for their money back, for their guarantees back, sort of thing? I don't know. Is he shitting himself? All of those sorts of little things. Here's why he's kicking off. Obviously, rumours for the masses that his team was sitting down with Liv the last whole 3 weeks trying to get a deal out. DeChambeau's the face of Liv, and as Liv is crumbling away, so is DeChambeau's persona. So yeah, disgraceful for DeChambeau. But you know what? If he gets back on it for next season, like, we'll respect him, and we'll still pick him for a major, because you know what, he's an entertainer, and that's what we like. So but yeah, bad couple of weeks for Big Bryce.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And last little point, just off the caveat of that, because obviously, I'm a golf coach. That's my job. Like, you beating yourself up out of maybe going to different golf courses and struggling like this. The golf pros are the first people to moan when the sand is slightly different at one venue to another.
Mm,
Okay, and the reason for that is they can't establish their usual techniques and usual consistency out of different types of sand. Okay, and when you go to different golf courses, what you'll see is different types of sand used all the time. So you sometimes we're quick to beat ourselves up as amateur players, and we're not accounting for the fact that if we were a tour pro, as soon as the grass gets a bit different, as soon as you said, the rough gets a little bit different, like DeChambeau was moaning about, again, the surface on greens, or even the texture of the sand, the different types of sand that you can get, as soon as that changes, that massively implicates their technique, and you get the odd person that can't adapt and moans about it. So when we have a bit of a poor performance, maybe chipping out of rough is probably the most common one that we see. Chipping out of rough from one golf course to another. Maybe give yourself a little bit of a break, because we're not tour pros out there, and they're the ones that also struggle with it as well. So definitely keep that in mind for those of you out there. Yeah, just a last little note on Live Golf. Like, I saw a great post, and it included your guy Brooks, and as the spokesperson for Brooks Koepka in the UK, let alone the fucking
yeah.
podcast, I'll obviously let you have your say on it. But I did agree with it. And it was a post basically saying, did Brooks Koepka and Patrick Reed just play the system absolutely perfectly? I know Koepka had to give up a little bit of a pretty penny to get back on tour, but what they've done is they've collected a bag, they've kind of just sat there for a few years. Koepka's even picked up a major in that time, which you could argue he might have just done the exact same had he been on tour the whole time. He's got himself exponential wealth on top of what he already had, and he's got back just in time for Liv's imminent sort of meltdown, as did Patrick Reed, which I found a kind of really strange move at the time, because Patrick Reed just embodied Live Golf, in my opinion.
Mm.
This kind of Bond villain kind of player that was on tour and everyone would sort of hate. But when he's clamoring to be back on tour, and he's kind of, again, his PR team are spinning it like, oh, he loves the tour and he wants to get back on it. Even I'm fucking falling for it. Like, I had to remind myself that people actually hate Patrick Reed. I was actually quite a fan of Patrick Reed, seeing him play the DP World Tour and winning these events. So have they played an absolute blinder here? Because I think it's hard to argue that they haven't.
I think they absolutely have. I think that the advice that DeChambeau and Reed have got has been unbelievable, and I think they've been good evidence that they've come back onto tour, both of them this season. Reed's won what 3 times at DP World Tour. Brooks hasn't been as good on the PGA Tour, but he had a good go at the Masters. Reed was in the running for 3 days and gave it a good go, and the Live boys were nowhere to be seen. Hatton had a good run, so fair play to him, but the Live boys weren't to be seen. So I think it's crumbling apart. And I think DeChambeau's already onto it, but I think DeChambeau's too late, and I think he's going to put himself in a bit of a mess. Um, but yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah, no, it is fair play to those guys for getting in and getting out at the right time. And past that, as I said, Tyrrell Hatton's still within there. John Rahm's
Mm.
obviously another figure where you worry about him long term and how his relationship's going to fare with the DP World Tour and therefore the Ryder Cup team. But even players like this, Cam Smith. I mean, Cam Smith has missed something
Yeah.
like his last 7 or 8 major cuts or something like that. He has absolutely sold his soul down the river, and it doesn't really look like he cares about his
I
golf
think
anymore. It's amazing what that liv's done.
I think it's interesting, Cam Smith one. I think there's I reckon there's 75% of golfers on Live who will be gutted to Live go, earning a lot of money. Their golf isn't serious. They spend time with their family. They look like Cam Smith did into Rick Shields, and he was just so. I get he's Aussie and they're a bit easy going, but he was just so relaxed with it. He was so looking forward to barely playing, so looking forward to a lack of competition, and just fucking about a bit. And I think it'll hit them lot hard. Someone like Ian Poulter, like he's in the midst of his career. What does he do now? When there's no Live, he ain't good enough to go and compete for majors now. Where's he going to get his money from? I don't know. I think Cam Smith's a great example. Like he hasn't been in a sniff for 5 years. Um, it's almost embarrassing. I don't know. I don't know what they'll do.
Yeah. Very interesting to see, but I can't feel sorry for them one bit. That was the risk you took when you went over there,
Mm.
and you can properly hold it, so to speak, if you want to moan about it now, because that's your bad. Um, Moving from Live to the Zurich Classic on the PGA Tour. I mean, what are our thoughts on the Zurich Classic as a concept? Do we enjoy it? Do we think it's a good idea? I'm a bit meh with it, to be honest. I know that the PGA Tour's got to mix it up and do something different, but I couldn't care less about it this week. We're a golf podcast. We like to cover the golf, but we also like to be honest as well. And I couldn't care less about this weekend. Ben, what about you?
Yeah, absolute dog shite. I think, sorry, yeah, absolute dog shite competition. Waste of a week. I don't get why they do it. Like, and I was looking at the pairs today, and there's an absolute aura farming pair in Brooks and Lowry, and I'll be buzzing for them to win. But like again, when Lowry and McIlroy won, like acting like it was like an absolute a W on their CV, I'm not having that at all. It's absolute shite. So and practicing for the Ryder Cup. Oh, shut the fuck up, literally. Like this absolutely awful week in New Orleans. But yeah, I mean it's the week for Nick Taylor and is it Hadwin for the Canadians that get absolutely hyped for this sort of week. If someone Finau to go with, someone to maybe carry Finau around the course because it's absolute shite. So yeah, that's where who's good for. But like yeah, terrible week. But yeah, we'll be on Brooks' watch though with Larry. Hopefully Larry won't let Brooks down. But I hope he yeah, I hope he doesn't.
Yeah, just a quick word for Luke Clanton. He's teamed up with Nick Dunlap this week. What are your thoughts on that?
Luke Clanton's taking the risk of his life, and like yeah, that's a risk. Maybe Luke Clanton is his coach to help him on an on-course lesson. That would be the best thing. And Nick Dunlap, yeah, I'm happy Nick Dunlap wasn't at the Masters at all because he scarred me last year for the stuff he was doing. Would I bet on Nick Dunlap and Clanton winning? No, not at all. But Dunlap needs some serious help with his game, and maybe Luke Clanton can help him with that.
Yeah, I mean, there's something about, again, for those of you who've been with us since literally day one, the nostalgia of coming on and knocking in Nick Dunlap whilst he is literally at his lowest point. Nick Dunlap out of Alabama um, won a PGA Tour event as an amateur. I mean, it literally the
Hmm.
sky was the limit, and now the carpet seems to be the limit for Nick Dunlap because he can't get it going, and Ben will be the first one to point that out. So hopefully Nick Dunlap can prove all the haters
Yeah.
wrong, and we'll see if Luke Clanton can pick him up and elevate him on course lesson with Nick Dunlap. That's brilliant. That is brilliant. Okay, then we are probably going to think about drawing this late week episode to a close. But before we do, for those of you listening to this point, and I always know which of you it is because you send emails in really quickly, which is massively appreciated. But we want to open it up to the wider audience as well. We're going to get this on social media. I keep on saying that, and sometimes I forget. So we will 100% get this on social media. And like we said last time, every response that we get, appropriate and legal, okay? We don't want any mad stuff getting sent in to us, okay? we will read. All right. So every single response we will read. And next week's podcast is going to be our feature podcast. And that is going to be pre-round warm-ups. Okay. We're speaking to you, the club golfer, pre-round warm-ups. Me and Ben were speaking just before this podcast started. We were speaking about the amount of crazy warm-ups that we see. Me as a golf coach, okay, I have maybe a bit more of a raised eyebrow when I see a crazy warm up, and then I hear the same person moaning about their performance out on the golf course. I can sometimes direct that at myself because I sometimes feel like my warm ups aren't appropriate. But let's cut into the chase. Next week, we want to hear from you. What is your pre round warm up? And what is the craziest pre round warm up or routine that you have ever seen? Because we see some good ones. Let's be honest. If you're a member of a golf club, you see some good ones. Ben, what are your thoughts on the pre round warm up? Open entry.
I like it a lot. I think as I was saying before, like in most sports now, you have it there. You have sort of set routines. Warm ups are important in football, in running, in rugby. Like you spend half an hour, but in golf, it is human to human what you do, how you get yourself ready, how serious are you. Like obviously, you got people that will go and sink 3 pints and will step on the first tee and see what happens. Others will spend hours on the range. I mean, our mate Ollie Barrett, one of our co-hosts, looking at the flyover every day in the week leading up to his round, flyover, and then hits the round. But interesting what you do. And one of the funniest things that I've seen, and I see it from a group of golfers up at Church Stretton, is they will have a pint before. They will go in, like hit one club about 4 times in the net. And like often that club is like, it's not a driver. It's often like a form of wood, and not a club they're going to hit up on the first tee. They might do, I might be wrong. They hit it terribly. They go and chip and duff every single chip, not aiming at anything, and then they go and putt, and like they hit a different, like no putt under 10 feet. Like I'm thinking of like yeah, I won't name names, but I'm thinking of like some, maybe even like a member of Jude's family or latter family. Like they'll let every putt from over like 30 feet, and like a different putt every time, and they barely watch it if the ball goes in the hole, and they won't putt from within 5 feet. So nothing what they've done in that warm up has helped them for their round. They're not, body's not warmed up, their eyes not in, they haven't built confidence, they haven't created a routine for themselves, and then they step up on the first tee. I highly respect it. But what shows what how serious golf is for them. But there'd be some more wackier routines that people go through. Maybe with some more cringe ones, some more over the top ones I'd like to see. But yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing about pre-round warm-ups and what you should be doing is trying to build some form of confidence before you go out there. And if you're practicing stuff that is just completely irrelevant to the round of golf that you're about to play, or practicing stuff that percentage-wise you're not going to face that many times, yeah, woods off the deck would probably be one of those. Okay, maybe for a senior golfer they might be looking to play some woods off the deck, but
Mm.
build confidence and do something that you're going to do quite regularly, hitting a 5 or a 3 wood off the deck just a few times before you go out. And then I love that one, like you said, the 30 footers, and then no recognition for whether the ball's gone in the hole or not. It's just pure hit it just to say you've hit it, look back at the ball, and then whack another one out there. Is just so classic. No recognition of where, and do you know what? That's coming back to my own practice and my own putting. That's something that I'm trying to make note of at the moment. Is if I am missing putts, which side am I missing on? Do I have biases towards different breaks? Am I accounting for that? Am I factoring in enough break for different sort of slopes and whatnot? And if so, which ones are more common? Am I under reading right to left putts? Am I over reading left to right putts? Little things like that you usually find patterns and trends, not if you just nail putts without even looking up and raising your head for just a second. So it is really, really good to find out, are you vaping before a round? Are you putting a
Mm.
snuzz in before a round? Um, do you like to get on the first tee and have that sensation of just not really feeling anything because you probably had a pint or two and you're feeling a bit tipsy? These are all things that we want to hear from you about. So we're looking forward to hearing from you guys regarding that. that's next week. So get your entries in. We want to know what is your pre-round warm-up and pre-round routine, and what is the craziest or funniest one that you've seen. And me and Ben will react to them and give our thoughts on them in next week's podcast. But that is it for today. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast this week. This has been a fun late week podcast. We are right in the midst of the golf season now, so we know that you guys are getting out there on a regular basis now. We know that there are some big golf tournaments coming up, which we are looking forward to, and we are looking forward to speaking about them as well. Okay, then, we are going to leave it there. Thank you so much to all of you for listening, and we will catch you next week to talk all things Zurich Classic and also the pre-round warm-ups as well. We'll catch you next time.